Biker ripped the waitress's shirt. What he saw froze the whole bar. The diner went silent. One moment, Sarah was balancing plates of burgers and fries, weaving between tables with the practiced grace of someone who'd been doing this for years. The next, a massive biker with tattooed arms had grabbed her apron strap, and the sound of tearing fabric echoed through the room like a gunshot. Every conversation stopped. Every fork froze midair. But what happened in the seconds that followed would change everyone in that bar forever, because what the biker saw beneath that torn shirt wasn't what anyone expected. And his reaction, it would remind an entire town what it means to be human. Before we continue with this incredible story, I want to invite you to join our Heartfelt Moments family. If you believe in the power of kindness and love hearing stories that restore your faith in humanity, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a moment. Drop a comment below telling us about a time someone's kindness changed your day. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like and share it with someone who needs a reminder that good people still exist. Now let's get back to what happened in that small-town diner on a Tuesday evening that no one will ever forget. Sarah Mitchell had been working double shifts at Rosie's Diner for 3 months straight. At 24, she was too young to look as tired as she did, with dark circles under her eyes that no amount of concealer could hide. But she smiled anyway, greeting every customer like they were family, refilling coffee cups before they were empty, remembering how people liked their eggs. What nobody knew was that Sarah was working those doubles to pay for her little brother's chemotherapy treatments. Their parents had died in a car accident 2 years earlier, leaving Sarah to raise 12-year-old Danny on her own. The medical bills were crushing, but she never complained. She just worked harder, smiled brighter, and prayed that somehow everything would be okay. That evening, a group of bikers rolled into town. Their motorcycles thundered down Main Street, turning heads and making storekeepers nervous. They were big men with leather vests, chains, and tattoos crawling up their necks, the kind of guys who looked like trouble. The kind mothers warned their daughters about. When they walked into Rosie's Diner, the atmosphere shifted immediately. Regular customers tensed up. The other waitress, Jenny, suddenly needed to check something in the kitchen. But Sarah walked right up to their table with that same warm smile. "Welcome to Rosie's, gentlemen. What can I get you tonight?" The biggest of them, a man called Tank, who looked like he could bench press a Buick, ordered for the group. His voice was rough, but Sarah didn't flinch. She wrote down their orders, cracked a joke about how many pancakes one person could eat, and made them feel like any other customers. For a moment, the tension eased. She brought their food out, balancing 6 plates like it was second nature. As she leaned over to set down the last plate, her shirt caught on Tank's leather vest. The fabric was old, worn thin from too many washes, and it tore right down the side. Sarah gasped, grabbing at the torn material, trying to hold it together. Her face flushed red with embarrassment, but Tank's face went white. Because beneath that torn shirt he saw something that made his breath catch. Sarah's entire side was covered in bruises, dark purple and yellow marks that could only come from one thing. She'd been giving herself injections. Lots of them. The bar went dead silent. Everyone was staring, expecting Sarah to cry or run away. But what happened next shocked them all. Tank stood up slowly, his huge frame towering over Sarah. Then he did something nobody expected. His eyes filled with tears. "Ma'am," he said, his rough voice cracking, "I know what those marks are. My daughter had the same one. When she was fighting leukemia." Sarah's eyes went wide. She'd been giving Danny his injections at home to save money on nursing visits, practicing on herself first to make sure she knew how to do it right. The bruises were from weeks of trial and error, of stabbing herself over and over until she got it perfect for her little brother. "Who are you taking care of?" Tank asked gently. Sarah's composure finally broke. The tears she'd been holding back for months spilled over. "My little brother," she whispered. "He has leukemia. I'm all he's got." Tank looked at his fellow bikers. Without a word they understood. He reached into his vest and pulled out his wallet, laying $200 bills on the table. "This is for the meal and for you." Then he turned to his brothers. "Boys," one by one, Every biker in that group pulled out their wallets. They weren't just a motorcycle club, Tank explained. They were the Iron Angels, a group of bikers who'd all lost children to cancer. They rode across the country raising money for families who couldn't afford treatment, doing charity runs and fundraisers in their kids' memories. Within minutes, they'd collected over $3,000, but they didn't stop there. Tank took Sarah's number and promised that the Iron Angels would help with Danny's medical bills. "We couldn't save our own kids," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "but we'll be damned if we let yours fight alone." The whole diner erupted in applause. Other customers came forward, adding their own donations. Jenny emerged from the kitchen crying, stuffing bills into Sarah's apron. By the end of the night, Sarah had enough money to cover 2 months of treatment. But more than that, she had something she'd been missing for 2 years, hope. 3 months later, Danny rang the bell at the hospital, signaling the end of his chemotherapy. Sarah was there, along with Tank and a dozen Iron Angels who'd become like family. The bikers who'd looked so scary that night had turned out to be guardian angels in leather and chains. Sometimes kindness comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes the people who look the roughest on the outside have the softest hearts. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment of genuine human connection to change everything. Sarah learned that night that she was never as alone as she felt. And everyone in that diner learned that you can never judge a book by its cover. The next time you see someone who looks different, remember Tank and the Iron Angels. Remember that beneath the surface, we're all just people trying to do right by those we love. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be inspired to be someone else's unexpected angel, because kindness doesn't need a reason. It just needs a willing heart.